Hello, I'm Campbell and welcome to Wind Up Wine Hacks. Today we're going to do a deep dive into wine glasses and why they're so important as part of enjoying wine. So we've got in front of me here, this is a sort of cut glass piece of shit. Here is a typical sort of wine glass that, as we're going to talk about, is almost exactly oppositely the wrong shape. Here is a wine glass that's got a proper sort of tulip shape. This is from IKEA, this is £1. And this is a Riedel New World Shiraz glass. This is £20. This is a much nicer shape, but the point we're going to make is that this glass from IKEA for £1 is much closer to this purpose-built glass for 20 quid and a much better vessel for enjoying your wine than any of these things that you quite often find for a lot more money certainly than £1 from IKEA. I know in my past, I've spent 20 quid in department stores on beautiful looking cut crystal glasses that look nice, that feel really, really weighty, but they're pretty frankly rubbish at being a wine glass. So since we've got a New World Shiraz glass here, we've also got a New World Shiraz. In this case, it's a Saint-Henri Shiraz from Penfolds down in Australia. Very good producer. We'll talk a little bit more about the wine in a second. I'm going to open this fresh so that when I taste them, I'm getting that sort of experience that's closer to how most people enjoy their wine, but we'll talk about decanters in a second. So this is one of my favorite wine toys. It's just an opener, but it's quite nice. It looks like it comes from a shop that sells a very different type of toy, which being a Bulgarian appeals to me. But let's open it up. Clean and hopefully simple. And there we go. Excellent. Right. So let's pour a little bit into each glass. Try not to spill too much. Now we're going to put a link below to an interesting article I only saw the other day in Scientific American that I think it was 2015, some clever Japanese guys invented a sniffer cam where they looked at different glasses and sort of color coded effectively the odors that were coming out of them. This was really interesting to me because I'm very sad, but also because it proves two of our key points. It proved on one side that if you have a proper tulip-shaped glass, what happens is you get the aromas from the wine come up in a beautiful little circle right into your schnoz where you need them, but also they tested at different temperatures. At a proper wine serving temperature, everything's fine and dandy. At sort of 24 and anything above that, basically all you're getting is ethanol. So that's reflected in what the wine tastes like as well when it's too hot. It's all alcohol, heat, and you've lost the aromas of the fruit. So if you're feeling particularly sad, go and check out that article below. It's my kind of science because it backs up what your own experience, common sense, and the evidence of your taste buds and sense of smell tells you. And it's just nice to see it brought to life. So let's have a quick look at these. So with this glass, you try and give it a swirl, and I have accidentally proven my own point. I'll work out if I can bleep that out later on. And then if you give it a sniff, that happens too. So I wasn't lying. I said it's a piece of shit. That's probably not going to help my ability to judge any further, but let's have a little taste. And it comes across as a nice enough wine, but pretty bog standard, pretty average, no real redeeming features. If you look at this glass, again, you'll see a pretty similar problem. We're not getting a lot of air in there. We've not got a lot of swirling. You can tell by the shape of it that, again, when that scent is coming up from that small space, that it's just going to poof and evaporate. Again, not getting too much on the nose. It's got a bit of a sort of peppery, Shiraz-y, blackcurranty smell to it, but slightly better, arguably, than that. Probably because I don't have a nose full of red wine. Definitely a top tip, don't snort your red wine. It's much, much nicer if you drink it the old-fashioned way. And now, trying not to cover myself in wine, if we give this one a whirl, you should immediately be able to see it's actually swirling around the glass properly. That's why you want that bowl shape. It's designed to get as much air as is needed into the glass, and then the tulip shape funnels it up towards your olfactory senses. So it's a lot easier to get your nose in. I'm obviously biased, but that's a lot richer. There's a lot more fruit coming through. There's a lot more flavors coming through. And again, it's a really big difference. The concentration is much stronger. This wine just shows so much better out of this glass from a pound than it could have done in these glasses that could be, 10, 15, 20 quid or more in, cut crystal or something poncy. And when we move up to the top of the tree, this is a wine glass purpose-built by Riedel to serve New World Shiraz. And yeah, on the nose, it's so much richer. It's got so much more, so much more depth of flavor. Yeah, and at that level, the wine is actually showing properly. This is a huge leap forward on that. Don't get me wrong, back to back, the expensive Riedel glass shows off a New World Shiraz better than this one does. But for the price, this is the route to go down. IKEA also does white wine glasses for £1. And if you really want to enjoy your wine, then decant it, give it some air. Air is the absolute key thing. And this is a carafe from IKEA that's got a helpful stopper. It will do a very, very similar job to, again, an expensive £40 plus Riedel crystal decanter. And this is £4. So if you're serious about trying to get a little bit more out of your wine without spending a lot of money on the thing, then you could get 6 glasses of these and a decanter for 10 quid. If you've got friends, then you can get 4 reds and 4 whites and a decanter, and you're still only spending £12 on it, and it will make such a big difference to your appreciation of the complexity and the flavors that go into the wine. It's not going to make a bad wine good, but it certainly can make a good wine great. So whilst we're on the subject, I should probably review the wine. So this Saint-Henri Shiraz from Penfolds is probably the sort of second top of their range. They're most famous for Grange, which is world-class wine, £200-300 a bottle, and Saint-Henri or Saint-Henri or however you want to badly pronounce it is kind of little brother. Interesting production in that it doesn't see a lot of new oak, so it's nowhere near as vanilla creamy as Grange or a lot of Aussie Shirazes. This is aged but not fermented in huge oak barrels, well, more like vats, that can be up to 50 years old. So it's very, very old oak, far older than most wines any of us would ever have experienced. So it's not got that oaky quality, it's much more about the fruit. It's a pretty difficult wine to score because it is not cheap. I bought this wine for 40 quid a bottle. It's 2008 vintage, so it's 10 years old. So you want to buy it now, you're looking at more like 60 notes, which is up into the very, very serious spend levels. And I like it, but I don't like it for £40, and I definitely don't like it for £60. I've got a few bottles left Penfolds tell me that this will age for several decades. Could well be. It needs a bit more time. It's very drinkable now. It's very, very nice now. But it tastes like a 15, £20 bottle of Australian Shiraz to me. It's a lot fruitier. It's a lot richer. It's very well made. But I don't really see that I'm getting the value for money gap there. So whilst I think it's very good, I'm going to call this a 5. This is recommended if you're feeling flush and want to try something different. But other than that, I think it's a pretty tough sell at either 40 or 60 pounds. But the main thing is, £4 for a decanter or a carafe, spend £1 on a glass of wine from IKEA. You'll get more out of a £20 bottle of wine with proper glassware than you will out of a £40 bottle of wine in a piece of shit glass. That's really the key thing, is maximizing the value. Don't forget that tulip shape. Let the wine get swirling around in there. Exactly the same principle as brandy glass. And serve it at the right temperature. Now, brandy glass myths. People think that the bowl is so you can do this so you can warm it up. Horseshit. Anybody who tells you that is wrong. The last thing you want to do with brandy is warm it up, because just like wine, if you get brandy or whiskey or anything like that, that's a quality spirit, if you get it to 24 degrees and above, all you're getting is booze. On the nose, it's that alcohol heat. The whole point about a brandy-shaped glass is, again, to give it that bowl, to get you swill it around, get air into it, and then point that up towards your nasal passage. It's not about warming up the wine or warming up the brandy. This is the shape that you want, and you really will get an awful lot more out of your wine with some sensible investments. Cheers.